If you lived throughout the 90s, you know in video games, fighting games were all the craze. The 5th generation was definitely the boom in 3D, and where we saw a lot of fighting games get the 3D treatment, the PS1 had so many good fighting games, and lots of side-scrolling fighting games too. The Nintendo 64 came out in 1996, a year after the PS1 in North America, and it did have its own catalog of fighters as well, even though its library is significantly smaller than the PS1. There were some random video games, like Dark Rift here, that came out in 1997 for the N64. It's actually one of the first games to utilize 60 frames per second on the system. I thought that was kind of a cool fact to know. This game is in fact a sequel to the game Criticom that was on the PS1 and Sega Saturn back in the early days. I played this game for a little bit and definitely want to talk about what it has to offer since it's kind of a random game for this system. Sit back, relax, let's talk about Dark Rift for the Nintendo 64.
Battle commence!
Dark Rift was made in 1997 for the Nintendo 64 as well as Windows shortly after. It was developed by Kronos Digital Entertainment and published by Vic Tokai. Kronos Digital Entertainment has made a few other games. The aforementioned Criticom, they also developed Cardinal Sin, a sequel to Dark Rift, but it was only on the PS1. Not too sure what's up with these games being on different systems of the same series, but they also developed the popular series Fear Effect, and I feel like that's the game that everybody knows by this developer, as well as Meat Puppet, a PC-only game. Dark Rift's plot, at the end of the day, it's going to be exactly like everything you've heard before, but to hear this game's version is it takes place after Criticom. It's in the far future. You've got 3 different dimensions, the light, neutral, and dark dimensions. There's this like divine master key that holds all the power and answers to the entire universe, and before anyone gets a chance to get it, well, it ends up breaking into small little pieces and scattered throughout all the dimensions, creating what's called a Dark Rift. So it seems like what the goal here is everyone wants to go and face each other to find this stuff. That way they have the answer to the universe, basically. This game gets straight to the point. You got tournament mode, like arcade mode here, you got options to adjust your options and stuff, and practice mode if you want to sharpen your skills. Of course, being a fighting game, on the N64 though, it definitely has its own unique control scheme going on here. You can use the D-pad or joystick here on the controller, you can move left or right, you can jump with up and then duck with down. Your C buttons though, that's your meat here. Your C up is your vertical attack, and then your C left is your horizontal attack. C down is kick, C right is block. You can use the B button to grab onto your enemies. A is your special attack. You'll have to do combos to execute this. Lastly, L and R can change your lane in the foreground or the background. Like any other fighter, you've got a bracket of 8 rounds you go through with each main character. Then of course, when you beat all of them, you fight the final boss, Champion Dude. Of course, instead of using your fists and kicking and punching all the time, you have weapons in this game, and that's a whole lot like Soul Calibur for anyone who's familiar with that. The game defaults to just 3 rounds rather than 2, so you have to win 3 times in order to progress to the next match, but you can customize this in your setting, and that's exactly what I did, because 3 just kind of takes too long in my opinion. I just like 2, nice and sweet. Your health, at least in my opinion, it feels a little hefty in this game, so you get a lot of health in this, because some fighters, you just kind of fight for like 10 to 20 seconds and it's over. It could take about 30 seconds or more, or sometimes even running the clock out like I've had to a couple times, because these fights can sometimes take a minute, especially if you know you're taking your time and you don't want to die against a hard enemy that you're going against. Going over the characters in this game, there's a total of 8, and they're all unique to be quite honest with you. The first guy you have here is Scarlet. This is who I picked first, this chick, and she's from like this Greek planet kind of deal. Kind of cool, she's got some cool attacks and just a fun character to use. Nikki's a girl with these disc blade things, and she's really cool. She can just do a lot of damage, and she has this awesome sonic bomb that she does too as her special. You've got this guy named Zenmaron, and he's okay. He kind of sounds like John C. Reilly whenever he's attacking. Here, you'll see what I mean. Aaron here, he's like a space marine from Earth, and kind of a cool concept. This is probably the cheapest broken character in the game though. He's got this gun that he has, and literally his special, he just shoots these huge nuclear bomb things. You can mow down your enemy doing this, so in my opinion, I think Aaron's the cheapest character in this game. Here you've got Gore, and yeah, Gore is on the cover of this game, and yeah, it's exactly what you think. He's like, oh yeah man, I'm Gore, I'm gonna beat your ass. Then you got Morphix here, yeah, that's one hell of a name, and he's a pretty cool character. I used him in my second playthrough in this game, and he kind of looks like a cross of like maybe Silver Surfer meets Miramon from Digimon, and he's fun to use. Then you've got Eve here, just another girl that uses a sword katana thing, and then Demonica. He's also a little cheap. He has these claw things, and he's kind of badass looking. On easy mode, you get to fight this guy named Sonork, and he's kind of the boss at that, but he's not the true final boss. It's actually Dimitron, but you have to play the game on normal or higher, which I did not do, I'll be honest. It's not the hardest game in the world or anything, but I did have a challenge playing through it even on easy mode towards the end, but maybe that's just because I suck at fighting games. But if I can make it through all the way and beat at least that boss on easy mode, so can you. Dark Rift is a decent little fighter on the N64. There's some cool weapons on these characters that you use, and the characters themselves are very interesting in how they work and function. You can tell the devs kind of give some personality to these characters, and they even included a backstory which you will see every time you start a tournament. Fun fact, motion capture was used on all the animations in this game when they were designing it. That's really neat to know because it definitely has a personality to them too on how they move and all that stuff. Cool environments, good gameplay, and that's about really it. It's a decent fighter on the N64. I will say this though, the music is just lifeless to me. I don't care for the music in this game. Here's Demonica's stage, for example. It's just lifeless. I know games like the first Tekken or Virtua Fighter have this issue, but this game just has nothing else to do. You just do tournament mode and practice mode, and that's it. It just needs more modes, like what Tekken 3 did. Man, they had a lot of stuff going on there, but I get it. This was probably just a small game here they had money for, and they did it. You know, they did the best they could. Not the best fighting game, but serviceable, and if you want something unique to the N64, Dark Rift is not a bad pick. Especially for the price too. It's only like a $10 or so game all day long loose, no matter where you live, so very affordable for that reason. Well, that's all I've got to say about this game. I'm going to go through a different dimension here and see if I can find Gore and see if we can become buddies. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If y'all enjoy this kind of content, be sure to give it a like. You got something to say? Leave a comment down below. If you got anything about Dark Rift or the Criticom games or just games in general, just something to say. Until next time, thanks for watching. Y'all take it easy.